Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a look inside a Rhode Island hockey rink in the moments after deadly gunfire erupted. What's being done after the blood supply at the Crossroads hits a critical low, and a longtime nurse received recognition for her decades of service.
Well, good evening, everyone. We had a beautiful day, lots of sun. Tomorrow, another day with beautiful sun because high pressure is now controlling our weather and all the storminess is on the west coast. I'll have your forecast coming up.
And tonight we had multiple girls by-district playoff games happening all over the Crossroads. We'll highlight how Tidehaven and Edna did later on in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry has the night off. An explosion of gunfire erupting during a high school hockey game in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Tonight, at least 2 people were killed. ABC's Rhiannon Alley has the latest as the FBI and ATF remain on the scene.
Tonight, the horror unfolding at a high school hockey game in Rhode Island. Authorities say a man opened fire, killing at least 2 people before shooting and killing himself. Police now reviewing this video. You can hear the deafening sound of about a dozen gunshots, sending crowds running in the stands and players scrambling on the ice.
We have 1 shooter down at the location. We have 5 injured.
Authorities racing to the scene at the Dennis Lynch Arena in Pawtucket around 2:30 p.m., finding multiple victims. Late today, officials say they believe the suspect may have been targeting his own family.
It appears that this was a targeted event, that it may be a family dispute.
Witnesses describing the chaos.
It was a very scary moment definitely for the parents. It was a bang. I thought it was a pops. I thought it was balloons at first, but it was not balloons.
At least 3 people were wounded. Officials say all the players in that hockey game are safe tonight. The investigation is now underway as the FBI is assisting local authorities. Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
The blood supply in the Crossroads is hitting a critical low, and local blood banks are asking for help. Normally, hospitals like to have at least a 5 to 7 day supply of blood on hand. Right now, that number's dropped to less than 3 days. Debbie Davila with the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center tells us some blood types are down to less than 1 day supply, putting real pressure on area hospitals. They're urging anyone who's eligible to roll up their sleeve and donate before the shortage gets even worse.
We're in need of all blood types. We have a critical need for O-neg. O-neg is the universal blood type and can be given to any patient of any blood type.
Blood donations are used every day for trauma victims, surgery patients, cancer patients, and others who depend on blood transfusions to survive. That's why the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center is asking donors to step up. They're open 7 days a week, making it easy to find a time that works for you. 2 important dates are getting close in the upcoming March primary election. The last day to apply for a ballot by mail is Friday, February 20th. Early voting begins tomorrow, and it runs through February 27th. The March 3rd primary election will have many local, state, and national races on the ballot. The Department of Public Safety is hosting a public meeting to share details on a possible relief route around Bay City. The virtual meeting this Thursday will give residents a chance to review the proposals and weigh in from home. If you prefer to show up in person, there's also a meeting set for Thursday at the Bay City Civic Center. For details on how to join the virtual meeting, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. And if you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email at staff@crossroadstoday.com. Well, Saturday, if you enjoy rain, it was a great day for you here. Let's go to Mac Pettis with the first look at the forecast and maybe the first look at maybe the next rain here in the Crossroads, Mac.
Yeah, well, I hope you really enjoyed this Saturday because I don't know when we'll get another significant one like that. Obviously, we had the hail and some winds and a little bit of damage as the line came through, but then set us up for a very pretty Sunday. Weather for the short term is going to stay on the very quiet side because what do you see here? High pressure building up over the area. Lots of storminess all over the west coast, Canada down to Baja, but none of that can come through this ridge. When will that ridge break down and when will we get a little bit cooler weather? Well, we'll be talking about that and looking for it coming up a little bit later on. Don, back to you.
Thank you, Mac. Tonight, new fallout involving the Jeffrey Epstein files. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott as another big name now stepping down from his job over his ties to Epstein.
Tonight, with the Department of Justice announcing no more Epstein files will be released, new fallout. Hyatt's executive chairman, billionaire Tom Pritzker, now becoming the latest leader to announce he will be stepping down because of his ties to the convicted sex offender. In a letter to the Hyatt board, the 75-year-old writing, "Good stewardship also means protecting Hyatt, particularly in the context of my association with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, which I deeply regret." Pritzker saying he exercised terrible judgment, adding, "There is no excuse for failing to distance myself sooner." Those recently released files revealing Pritzker, who is the cousin of Illinois Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker, continued to keep in contact with Epstein even after he pled guilty to sex crimes in 2008. His departure, the latest corporate shakeup following the resignation of a top lawyer at Goldman Sachs, Kathleen Rumler, who referred to Epstein as Uncle Jeffrey in an email released by the DOJ. And the LA executive named chair of the 2028 Olympics, Casey Wasserman, now selling his talent agency after he was named in the files too. Multiple celebrity clients dropping him. He still hopes to chair the next Olympics in Los Angeles. Both have expressed regret over their association with Epstein. The DOJ telling Congress the department released all records, documents, communications, and investigative materials in its possession in compliance with the law. Victims outraged. And now Hillary Clinton, just days before she and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, are set to testify behind closed doors in a Republican-led investigation into Epstein, speaking out. She has told the Republican chairman to stop the games, asking for a public hearing, cameras on, and now telling the BBC in an interview excerpt published online that she believes others should testify in front of Congress.
I think everybody should testify who is asked to testify. I just want it to be fair. I want everybody treated the same way.
Neither Bill nor Hillary Clinton have been accused of any wrongdoing. Meanwhile, here at the White House, there is still no deal with Democrats and Republicans to end the partial government shutdown. TSA workers now going without pay, and with lawmakers out of town on recess, there is no end in sight. Rachel Scott, ABC News, the White House.
A massive manhunt is underway in Indiana after 2 police officers were shot. Officers were first called to the area after reports of a disturbance. Within minutes, the situation grew and gunfire erupted. Several roads were shut down as officers fanned around to see the area in search of the suspect in Beech Grove. The 2 injured officers were transported to a local hospital for treatment. The investigation remains active as authorities search for the gunman. Today, the Pima County Sheriff's Office cleared Nancy Guthrie's family members as possible suspects as the search for the 84-year-old continues. And that includes the Guthrie siblings and their spouses. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nano saying in a statement that the family are, quote, victims in this case, and to suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel, unquote. Also today, President Trump told the New York Post that Nancy Guthrie's abductors would face, quote, the most severe federal consequences, unquote, if she were found dead. The president later agreeing that could mean the death penalty if requested by the Justice Department. A local nurse is celebrating 45 years of hard work and giving back to her community. In honor of Black History Month, DTAR's Assistant Chief Nursing Officer Maggie Bearfield is dedicated to serving patients since the late 1970s and being a mentor in the nursing field. Bearfield is known for her kind heart and says she loves to help younger people. She says being a nurse is not a job, it's what she's called to do.
Anything that I can help somebody else, it just makes you feel good. And then, of course, you want to keep having that feeling, so you do a little bit more. So that's one of the biggest things. It's just, it gives me self-satisfaction, I guess I would say.
Bearfield is a beacon of light to the Crossroads, serving through health care at her local church and raising children. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, a federal judge orders the restoration of historical exhibits removed from a Philadelphia site. Also ahead, why some companies say it's taking longer to hire. What you need to know about one tool used to help build resumes. Oscar-winning actor Robert Duvall died peacefully at his home in Virginia. Duvall had an acclaimed screen career spanning 6 decades. Best known for The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and many other tough guy roles like Major Frank Burns in MASH. Yeah, he played that too. His family said those who wish to honor his memory are encouraged to do so in a way that reflects the life he lived by watching a great film, telling a good story with friends, or taking a drive in the countryside to appreciate the world's beauty. Duvall was 95 years old. A federal judge ordered the restoration of an historical exhibit in Philadelphia. Dan Snyder reports on the fight to preserve what activities called the true telling of American history.
It was the moment Michael Cord with the Avenging the Ancestors Coalition announced to a crowd of dozens a federal judge sided with the city of Philadelphia and ordered all exhibits that were removed from the president's house to be put back.
But better than fighting the good fight is winning the good fight, and today we won.
The judge's ruling says the site must be restored to its standing on January 21st, the day before the exhibit was removed. It came after President Trump's executive order last year titled Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. The news also came as people with the coalition were holding a President's Day rally, calling for the panels to be restored.
So this has been a very rewarding effort, but also it's crazy that in 2026 we still have to do this. In 2026 we still have to fight for the truth.
The Interior Department has not commented on today's ruling so far. However, in a statement last month, the department said in part they were not, quote, erasing history, and that, quote, the order directed a review of certain interpretive content to ensure parks tell a full and accurate story of American history. The department also said signage should be, quote, informed by current scholarship and expert review, not through a narrow ideological lens. But those who have fought for the restoration of this site say this is a true telling of history.
We understand that our history isn't great, our history has blemishes, but we have to tell it because it is the history of this country. It is what made this country, and it is the fabric of this country.
Cord says he believes the federal government will appeal the decision, which could keep the displays down longer. In the meantime, people have taken to putting up their own signs.
I felt that it was a horrible thing that they would take our history down. I think it's everybody's history.
And while Cord believes there's still a fight ahead, he said he's optimistic about today's news.
So this tells me that there's some glimmer of hope for the future of America.
A Pennsylvania school district is using artificial intelligence to help students improve their reading skills. Students spend 20 minutes a day with the AI tutor in a program called Amira. The program listens as first, second, and third graders read aloud, corrects their mistakes, and provides instant feedback. Students choose their own stories, and their voices are recorded so teachers and parents can track progress. The principal reports students read an average of 59 words per minute at the start of the school year. Now that average jumped to 91 words per minute. American Ilana Myers-Taylor finally has her Olympic gold at 41 years old. The veteran bobsledder took first in the monobob competition on Monday. Myers-Taylor's first career gold medal adds to 5 previous medals and ties her as the most decorated female American Winter Olympian of all time. She has 3 silver medals and 2 bronze from her 4 previous Olympic Games. Myers-Taylor joins the career list with legendary speed skater Bonnie Blair, who also has 6 Olympic medals. To get more news, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. When it comes to job creation, this year is off to a strong start, but many employers say it's taking longer to fill positions. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan explains why some online tools many are using to speed up the process actually are slowing down hiring for employers.
Finding a new job can often feel like a full-time job because of how long it can take to get hired.
The job process is always a frustrating one.
Dawn Fay with recruiting firm Robert Half says the good news is many companies say they're hiring. They recently conducted a survey of more than 2,000 U.S. hiring managers. 60% said they plan to add permanent staff. And the latest jobs report released last week beat expectations, with 130,000 jobs being added in January and unemployment ticking down to 4.3%. But Fay says it's taking companies longer to fill openings, and one of the reasons, applicants are increasingly depending on AI to craft resumes and cover letters.
There are so many resumes that are coming in now, many of them looking very similar, that it's taking companies longer to go through them and longer to vet things to make sure that people really have the skills that are on their resume.
In that same survey about hiring, 65% of hiring managers said AI-generated resumes are making it harder to assess real skills.
It can certainly help people make sentences and things a lot crisper, but you want to make sure that that resume really reflects you.
Did you deliver a project on time, manage a budget, launch a social media campaign? Faye says those are all examples that should be fleshed out quantitatively in a cover letter and resume to help you stand out. She also recommends applicants reach out directly to hiring managers in addition to filling out an application. If you do land an interview, she recommends asking what the company's timeline is to fill the position so you have a better understanding of their timing. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
A rainbow appeared over Hawaii's Kilauea volcano today. Video from the U.S. Geological Survey showed a rainbow stretching over the volcano as smoke plumed. Scientists with the USGS said the volcano was experiencing intermittent eruptions since December 23, 2024. Kilauea remains one of the most volcanically active sites on the planet. Signs in an area of California read, "Turn around, don't drown," but emergency workers say the driver of the white car in the distance you see there apparently did not pay attention to them. Luckily, the driver got out safely. When a tow truck arrived to pull that car out of the water, the tow driver, for some reason, drove right into that high water too. Both men inside had to climb out onto the roof of the rig and wait for a tow themselves.
Why? A tow truck driver drives into the...
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I mean, unless it's a specially designed truck that can go underwater. I mean, and you know what? Think about it, how odd it is. We're having gorgeous weather, the West Coast, where it never rains. It's getting rain, big, big, big rain. What about us? Well, we're at 56 right now. We're cooling down, and we're probably going to be looking at some fog overnight. 75 was our high today, 45 the low. We're going to be looking at warming temperatures up into the mid-80s in the next couple days. We'll talk about it after this. Well, good evening, everyone. It's not well after the afternoon. I just wanted to remind everybody we got about 3/4 of an inch of rain on Saturday with all that storminess that came through right on time. Sunday was gorgeous. Today was gorgeous. Tomorrow's going to be gorgeous. The thing is, we're sort of out of the weather pattern, which I thought was going to be much more active following that storm on the weekend. And the reason for it is high pressure building right here, okay? Whenever you see this bulge going up, that means we're not in the weather business. When you ever see this drop going down, that's where all the weather is. And look at this. From British Columbia all the way down the West Coast, even into Baja, they're getting stormy weather tonight. So yeah, it's raining in Southern California heavily, and they're excited. Why? Because finally, after a month and a half it's finally something's coming down. Now, over the next 5 days, here we are. Notice the stormy weather coming ashore, going into the Rockies, and not crossing into Texas until Friday, when finally we get a little bit of something. What's happening here? Well, the frontal systems are going to go away, and high pressure is not allowing any of that to come into our region until the weekend, when things kind of get a little improved. But meanwhile, we'll just be happy for our friends on the West Coast. Storm number 1 coming in with rain and snow. Storm number 2, storm number 3. It is a very complex weather system, but the entire West Coast is going to be in a different situation by the end of this week. For us, we need to move some of this pressure before we start picking up anything around here. Get a load of the temperatures. Tomorrow, 80 degrees, up to 86 by the time we get to Thursday. But then there is that little front on Friday really, where it'll affect us on Saturday. But that front will not really, carry a lot of weight of rain with it. Overnight, we'll have some low fog, or low clouds and fog, The cloud deck is going to be fairly thick even after probably midnight. So those of you driving, later tonight or very early in the morning, you're going to have to deal with this. So drive carefully. It'll be down to about a half mile in most areas. But the long-term map here, we're going to go as far out as we can with this, the GFS model. You notice that we've got this bulge here and we've got all the storminess there. Well, that's your Tuesday. Then we go to Wednesday. Still nothing for us. Very stormy on the West Coast. Still Wednesday, still quiet for us. We go to Thursday and we'll see what's happening. Anything? No. Storms go this way, storms go that way. But then you'll see, however, that the bulge that was over here is now dropping. That's why we expect that little frontal system, which is going to be this one, to actually make it through our area on Friday to give us a cool down. But there's not going to be much moisture to work with, so it's not a promising frontal system with rain that we can expect. So we'll just watch and wait, see how it evolves. But through 7 to 9 days, not much happened in terms of rainfall. We'll be on the mild side tomorrow, 76 down at the coast. Inland areas, a little bit more sun, getting up to about 80 in Cuero. 7-day forecast, 82, then 86, and then 83 on Friday before that little front comes through with a slight 20% chance of a cloud or two. Not much to hold out for, but we'll be watching it for you right here. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. And we'll toss it over to Maxwell with sports.
That's right, Mac. After the break, we're highlighting all of tonight's girls bi-district basketball games that are happening. We got a lot of them, so don't go anywhere. Tonight we started the first round of the girls bi-district round basketball playoffs, and we had multiple 2A and 3A teams battling out to see if they would reach the next round. And we're going to start first with the Tidehaven Tigerettes as they face the Stockdale Brahmans tonight at Weimar High School. And our 25 News Now weekend sports anchor Ray Robinson was at tonight's game and has the full recap.
You know, Max, just an overall good game when we're talking physicality, full-court pressing defense from the Tidehaven Tigerettes, and that is one of the essential parts in leading them to victory, as Naomi and Adriana all had monster games tonight. But it's only just a sign of better things to come, according to those two and Coach Wagner.
Just going in, we were nervous, but we did what we know how to do. We played our defense, we ran our offense, and I completely trust my teammates going forward.
I feel great. I think we just came out with the intensity that has been needed ever since we started the second round of defense.
As long as they play smart. Like today, I think we did a pretty decent job of getting after it and being smart while we were doing it, taking more angles and things like that. And that had a lot to do with just settling in, not being so antsy trying to get to the ball and stuff. So just settling in and doing the right things.
Yeah, that's right. I think the Tidehaven Tigerettes set the bar pretty high in what you can expect when talking high school hoops in the Crossroads on the postseason side of things. But as always, make sure you stay tuned on KAVU to see more highlights and results. And I'm only excited for what action we can see tomorrow. But reporting in Weimar, Ray Robinson, KAVU TV 25 News Now, Sports.
All right, so with Tidehaven advancing in the next round, we're going to turn our attention over to another 3A clash between two Crossroads teams and rivals in the Edna Cowgirls facing the Goliad Tigerettes at Cuero High School. Both these teams heading in at halftime were struggling to score, with Edna only up 16-6. But in the second half, the Cowgirls would get the game going as senior Mary Jane Ripper led the way as they would pull away in this victory, winning 36-23 and actually 38-23, pardon me. And after the game, we caught up with the winning head coach Dustin Dorn about how he felt about tonight's victory and how Ripa has been a big factor for this team.
Everything we talked about, we had to play hard on defense, hustle around, and then on offense we had to be aggressive and try to get to the basket, and I thought we did a good job of that. The thing about her is that she looks to try to get everybody involved, and then every once in a while when the opportunity's there, she tries to go to the basket. But anytime that somebody else does something good, she's always the first one to be excited about it.
Now, Ripa and the Cowgirls now await the winner of Crystal City Javelinas or the Marion Bulldogs in the next round next week. Now, checking out some more final scores from the rest of the bi-district action. Shiner, they face the Granger Lions tonight at Smithville High School, and Lady Comanches would get the victory 55-48. LSU softball commit and senior Addie Siegel led the way with 21 points for Lady Comanches. They face the Evadale Rebels in the next round. Over to Yorktown Kitty Cats, they face the Lavilia Cardinals out at Kingsville High School, and Yorktown took care of business, winning 65-36. 37. They will face the winner of the Harper Longhorns or the Falls City Beavers, who will play tomorrow night. Over at Odom High School in Corpus, the Refugio Lady Cats face the Refugio Coffer Seahawks. And for Refugio, they beat Coffer last year in the first round. Will they do it again tonight, winning 58-42? Junior C.D. Willis led the way with 25 points for Lady Cats, and they'll face either the Charlotte Trojans or the San Sarma Armadillos in the next round. For the Houtsville Lady Bremas, they faced out the Poth Pirates out tonight in Seguin High School, and it wasn't the Lady Bremas night on offense. They lost 50-24 to Poth. The Lady Bremas season comes to an end. And we talked about all these high school games. Let's shout out, obviously, the Houston Cougars. Well, not really a shout out, but a tough loss there, Don, tonight. Versus, again, the Cyclones of Iowa State lost 70-67. Again, Kingston Flemings led the way with 22 points, and they're looking to rebound, especially against a very talented team in Arizona. They're at home there this Saturday. That'll do it here in sports. Don, back to you.
And that game will be at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon right here. Max, thank you, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, a rare and majestic winter wonderland opens to the public for the first time in 11 years. It is a sight to behold. Yes, it is exciting. A rare and majestic winter wonderland in northern Wisconsin. The Myers Beach Ice Caves border the shores of Lake Superior and are now open to the public. The caves are located on the Apostle Islands National Lakeshore. This is the first time in 11 years that conditions are allowing people to roam the caves. Workers only allow visitors access when the weather allows and if current ice conditions remain stable. A spokesperson for the National Lakeshore said, "Few places offer an experience like this. I believe them." A surprise birthday party Sunday helped kick off celebrations for an Ohio woman who is turning 99 years old. Betty Haar celebrated with family and friends at the Harris Elmore Fire Station. Born and raised in the village of Elmore, Haar is an author, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. She wrote 3 books about her experiences in Elmore. She shared her advice. Here it is, folks. Write this down. Be good to people, and they'll be good to you.
There you go.
Har still lives in her own house. She has people come over and help her, but she can still cook on her own. She said she could not have asked for a better life.
Look at that.
At the age of 99.
How about that?
When the top hitter in baseball was a man named Babe Ruth. 1927.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, my gosh.
Don,
And
a little
he's
history popping up here.
Well, that lady is just a full, not a full book, a full library.
She's an encyclopedia.
She
But then
really
again,
is.
People don't know what an encyclopedia set looks like anymore.
Well, she could show them pictures from
She probably.
Of course, they couldn't see that anyway if they're driving in the fog, which we may have some in the morning.
Yes, we will have some. Within the next couple hours, the fog is going to develop, and it'll be quite soupy early in the morning. Then it'll burn off, and we'll get up to 80 degrees. How about that? We're looking at a mid-80 on Thursday. Can you believe that? 86. Wow. In fact, while we're in the 80s out west toward Eagle Pass, Del Rio, they'll be at 90 this week. So it's an early touch of summer. Not ready for it, but at least that little cool front comes in on Friday to give us a cooler weekend.
Better than what's going on in California right now.
It could be stormy.
Yes. Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us. 25 News Now Sunrise at 5 a.m. Jimmy Kimmel Live starts now.